Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the greatest show on earth. I'm your co-host, Caleb Griffin,
I'm your other co-host, Evan Lytle.
and we have a brand new show to talk about. But the first thing we got to do is cue the theme song.
Tuners on a boat, tuners on a boat, tuners on a boat that we don't own. Tuners on a boat, tuners on a boat, tuners on a boat that we don't own. It's Caleb
and Evan
and
Caleb,
we're on a boat
and we don't own it.
Tuners on a boat, tuners on a boat, tuners on a boat that we don't own.
Did you happen to listen to Caleb AM yesterday?
I did happen to listen to Caleb AM yesterday.
Boy, what a
Fire,
night!
a fire episode. Oh no!
Oh no! Got it. If you ever get a chance to plunge a car, you should do it. It is one of the most fun things I've ever done in my life. And that's no joke. It was so much fun. But anyways, we got to get into She-Hulk because we have two episodes to talk about. First one came out last week. The second one came out today. And so far, the reviews have tanked pretty hard.
Yeah.
I read that 31. I think that's what the article said. I'll pull it up to make sure, but I'm pretty sure it said 31.9% of the reviews are 1 star, which
Wow.
is crazy to me. Not that I think the show is fantastic, but I do think that that's a little too much hate for the show.
Yes.
I mean, it's just the way it's written. It's kind of like a comedy. It's going to be kind of political in that sense, and you're either going to like it or you don't. Me personally, I don't care for all that stuff, but so
Yeah.
far the show's been interesting enough for me to want to watch it.
I like it. The first episode was not thrilling, and
Wasn't good.
I'll go into that when we actually review it.
Yeah.
But I mean, like overall, I think it's gonna be pretty good. Miss
Mhm.
Marvel, like I didn't think it'd be something I was gonna be interested in, and then I watched it and I was like, oh, this is actually I liked it.
It was very
She
good.
Hulk's kind of Yeah, She-Hulk, it's only gonna be like 6 episodes, I think.
9.
6 or 7. It's 9? Oh, wow.
Mhm. I looked it up today, but they're
Uh,
only 30 minutes long. Like, the other ones are normally, like, hours.
yeah.
This one's, like, 30
Yeah,
minutes,
like,
so
well, the first one was like 45, I think, but
was
it
it?
was like
Oh,
7 minutes or maybe. I don't know. I
yeah.
don't actually remember. I'd have to check. But today's was only like 23 minutes long. I was very
Mhm.
surprised.
Yeah. Me and Caleb were talking about that other earlier, and he said for superhero shows, that doesn't really work. Like, it needs to be longer,
Yeah.
but
But it's not really like a superhero. I mean, it is a superhero show, but it's kind of a mix between a superhero show and a comedy. So,
you're right. It's, the comedy for me, there's been a couple of times, especially in the second episode, where I did laugh. First episode, I did not the comedy wasn't hitting for me. Second episode though, I did laugh a pretty good amount of times. So, I think it's gonna get better. The same with, like, almost every single Disney Plus show we've had so far, with a couple of exceptions. They all start out pretty bad,
yeah.
and they get better. Like I said, with a few exceptions, Hawkeye, in my opinion, did not have a bad episode. There wasn't an episode of Moon Knight I didn't that I said I don't like, but the show did get better as it continued, like most Disney Plus
Yeah.
shows tend to do. Miss Marvel, I didn't care for it the first couple episodes, but I started liking it. It's just I'm optimistic that it's going to be good. Phase 4 has been a bad phase in general for the MCU. So if this show does not get better, it's not that big of a deal to me. Because it's phase 4. Like, we just got to get to phase 5 at this point and
Yeah.
hope it gets better.
I mean, I really just think it's going to end on a banger with Wakanda Forever, possibly. Because I mean, we only have like a 2-minute trailer.
Yeah.
So Phase 4 is it's a huge mix. It's a big half and half.
Yeah.
And truth be told, I think the lower half is majority of it, like the kind of mid half. Like Moon Knight was really cool, but like the coolest fighting scenes you don't even get to watch. They're like
Right.
cut out. So which kind of made it interesting, but it's also kind of like I wanted to see that. uh, and then like She Hulk, I think it's gonna be a fun little watch. especially for the characters that they're gonna introduce, like just the out of nowhere characters.
Yeah, we still got to what Daredevil's supposed to be
I
somewhere in the
know
show.
he's supposed to be a little comedic, and like some people are taking huge offense to that, but like
Yeah.
they got to understand, like he's not that dark and gritty. Like yeah,
Hmm.
he is, but like even Netflix's Daredevil joked around some. He's more like Batman. Like he'll tell like a
Right.
joke, but it's kind of like rare. So I think people would need to kind of like let go of that concept of like the Netflix only version, because
I
even he
agree.
told jokes. Like Daredevil's not this hard-hearted person. Like he's not. It's just no Marvel character that's a hero really is, besides like Punisher or Ghost Rider.
Yeah,
Like
that's
all
true.
of them have like a little lighthearted side to them. So I think it'll
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see that.
And I think people are kind of worried with that about Daredevil portraying that kind of comedic part in the Born Again series. But I
Yeah,
don't think he will, because the Born Again comics, you don't really see a joking Daredevil because of all the crap that's
right.
happening in his life. This is Daredevil before that, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
I'm assuming that Born Again is going to be after his appearance in She-Hulk in the timeline. I
yeah.
mean, I'm pretty sure that's confirmed. I don't know, but
Or
you
also,
know, we could totally see a comedic Daredevil turn into a dark and
yeah,
brooding type of Daredevil because of all the stuff that's going to happen to him. Um, but it's the MCU. You're going to have characters make jokes. You're going to have all sorts of stuff like that, and sometimes the comedy falls flat, and sometimes it doesn't. I'm excited to see a funnier Matt Murdock.
hmm or also just like this is She-Hulk show. Like they could make him like a little comedic, and then in the Daredevil show, he's gonna be his own character, so it'll be
Exactly.
okay.
Yeah. Um, you know, I'm still excited to see Daredevil. In the past year, I've grown to love Daredevil more than I used to. I just, not that I hated him or anything. It's just I wasn't that huge a Daredevil fan. This year, it's been different. So I'm very excited. Uh, I know he's one of your favorite superheroes.
Oh yeah.
So let's go ahead and jump into episode number 1. Evan, I want to hear from you. What's your consensus on the episode? I guess.
I mean, I thought it was kind of a good introduction.
Hmm.
The thing that I like struggled with was like I get the message of like it's not anti men, it's like anti jerk men, like guys that are just like jerks all the time, like
Yeah,
But like the problem with the episode was that they made every male in the episode a jerk,
a
or
jerk,
like
except for
they didn't make
Bruce. But
yeah, and even then they made him like giving her a hard time. So it's
mhm,
like I get the message, but you don't got to use it with every single male
example,
character in this. Yeah.
yeah,
I wasn't crazy about how she became She-Hulk. Like she got cut and Bruce got cut and their blood mixed.
yeah.
Uh, but truth be told, I think it makes more sense than the comic version, which I don't remember off the top of my head, but I know it was kind of goofy.
It was a blood infuse. Like they intentionally did that, hoping to. I forgot
Yeah,
what exactly, but they intentionally put the blood in her,
yeah,
and she became the Hulk, but not to make her the Hulk. So I don't remember quite what it is. But
yeah.
anyways, keep going.
And then I didn't really like how that happened. Like the spaceship appeared and then just kind of like caused the accident and then disappears. Like
Yeah,
you don't know where it went. Uh, I mean, it was a good little intro to her character, but like the thing that I've found with both episodes is that they end on like kind of cliffhangers or like just bland endings. Like you're gonna give me that, and then like the episode's over. So it's just
I agree
like
with you.
she punches Titania or whatever, and it's like all right, and then it ends.
My thing is like, for one, what was that flying sidekick that Titania had? Like,
Yeah,
how was she staying in the air that long? That was just one thing I took away from it. I also agree with you about how she became She-Hulk. I did not like they just both happened to get cut and their blood mixed.
yeah,
Um, I don't like how she didn't have to go through the process of becoming She-Hulk, like that she just instantly knew how to handle
yeah.
everything. Like you
I
did
mean,
a flashback, right? You could have made
yeah,
that flashback years ago and show her, going through what Bruce did, or even months ago. But in the span of days, she just instantly knew how to control
yeah,
herself and be the Hulk, and that's just not what I like to see. from like a whole character, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of understood the point they're making, but it goes along with like the every dude in the episode was a jerk, like that she was just like, I've dealt with this my whole life. It's like, yeah, but you're not dealing with being a Hulk. You're just
You've
dealing
never
with
dealt
like
with gamma
having
radiation before.
yeah,
Like, you know, that was my one takeaway. Like, not my one takeaway. There were multiple takeaways. The comedy in the first episode fell flat to me.
yeah. Like
Not a
the
whole
fourth
lot of
wall
laughs.
breaks felt like out of place for me. Like they're just kind of
Yeah,
like there. It wasn't really jokes. It was just kind of like, yeah, this is happening. Like a little like side break.
I was okay with the fourth wall breaks. When they said
Yeah,
they were doing them, like she's one of the characters in the comic books who actually did fourth wall breaks.
yeah,
So I wasn't upset when they said they were going to do it. I just thought they were going to be bad. In the first episode, like they didn't make me cringe. I wasn't upset with the four wall breaks. Not that I needed
yeah.
them, but I was okay with them being there. As for like this story goes, you obviously see Bruce still kind of struggling with missing Tony and the other Avengers and stuff. I thought
Yeah,
the one joke that made me laugh was the whole ongoing joke about Captain America's virginity. Um,
yeah.
but then again, that didn't make sense because obviously he's not a virgin. But
Which they revealed in the end credit scene just to do another like F bomb cutoff, which was
yeah,
it was just kind of out of place, but it made me laugh. Along
it
with
was funny.
like the funniest part in the whole first episode was Smart Hulk saying "bruh." It got me like out of nowhere. He was like "bruh," and I was
That was
dead.
so funny. As far as first episodes go, comparing it to other first episodes, it did a good job of explaining to me what was going on. Like WandaVision, and I know it was intentional the way they did it. I hated the first episode of WandaVision. I was so confused. Like obviously there's something else happening here, but what the
Hmm.
crap is this? Why are we getting a 1940s sitcom that
Yep.
just made no sense? This episode kind of different. It wasn't a good episode. I think I ranked it at like a 4 or 5 out of 10.
Yeah,
Um,
I gave it about a four and a half.
yeah, but it was a good introduction. Um, I was really hoping to know more about the crime
Yeah,
case, the trial that was going on, because I feel like that has some more importance than we're knowing. The spaceship was just kind of out of place, and Bruce didn't even think anything about it. He was just like, probably just a Sicarian aircraft. They're
yeah.
probably
He
trying
was
to
just
reach me
like
or something.
yeah. He's
I was
just
like,
like
you
yeah.
don't,
When you're Hulk, these things happen. I'm like what?
yeah.
What?
I mean, you know, and I don't know. Like she didn't want to be a superhero to begin with, and she didn't want to have to take on that role. And then her friend just so easily persuaded her to do your thing, turn
Yeah.
into the She-Hulk, and
Well, that
like,
was they kind of dive into that in episode two. Like she kind of had to save.
mhm.
I mean, she didn't have to, but I mean, she would have let him get hit by a giant bench or whatever it was.
Yeah, I don't.
Dust.
It was just kind of weird to me. That's really all I have on the first episode. Like I said, it wasn't that great. The CGI looks bad. Um,
Yeah,
but that's part of Marvel's employees all leaving because of all the content they're putting out, and they can't keep up. It's a problem that Kevin Feige needs to fix before they launch Phase 5. We can move on to episode 2 if you like, because episode 2 was a lot better than
yeah.
episode
I
1.
really enjoyed episode two.
Starting with comedy, because that's the least important part of the show to me. Comedy was hilarious. The whole here's a map of how to get to the best toilet for pooping.
Yeah,
That made me, I died
I
when that
was like,
happened. And look who it is.
it's Caleb Glad.
It's the
From
star of
Caleb
the Peach
AM.
from Caleb AM. Bye. Thanks for stopping by. But yeah. The whole pooping part that made me laugh. Her family was funny to me.
Yeah, Chad made me laugh. You got fired. You weren't supposed to bring it up. You said
You
to
talked
bring
about
it up.
yeah, the comedy was good. There were funny moments. There were times that I laughed. Um, my one thing, my one big problem. It's really two problems I have with the whole episode. One, Bruce was just on a spaceship.
Yeah.
Somehow he had cell reception in space.
I mean, it was the spaceship that like came to get him.
Yeah,
It was like,
and
oh yeah. He's like, yeah, I
and
won't be back for a while.
Yeah, and he just like, why is he going back to space? We had an entire
Yeah.
like 2 years of him missing in space, not knowing what was going on. And the creator of the show, I read an article, she did an interview, like, people want to know what Bruce was up to in space. No, we don't. We know what he was up
No.
to in space. He was the
He
Hulk
was gladiating.
fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we know what he was doing. We don't want to see him gladiating more. That's what we have the Shang-Chi fighting
Well,
ring for now. Like,
they are doing. Well, I've heard that it's supposed to set up World War Hulk, which is him fighting, which is it's a cool comic. I really like it and the
yeah,
movie, but it's not the same because like the Illuminati sent him to space because they're like, yeah, you're too dangerous. But
yeah,
also like Smart Hulk in the World War Hulk line does not
it
fit. Like
doesn't.
this isn't
You're right.
angry, powerful Hulk. And it was just kind of like, why are you trying to set that up when you have a whole show to be focusing on with
I
She-Hulk?
agree. And I don't like it because I wanted Bruce to play more of a part in this show because he's one of the main Avengers that we haven't seen a whole lot of compared to the other ones.
Yeah,
He only had the one movie, and it wasn't even him; it was Edward Norton.
I
Um,
know. And they're connecting it, which is like, it's cool, but they're not the same Hulk.
yeah, I like Mark Ruffalo better personally, but like I
Yeah,
want to see more of his story and not him and being Smart Hulk in space. Keep him on Earth for crying out loud! Like
yeah,
you already have too many storylines going all over the place right now in the MCU. You have the 10 rings that haven't been discussed. You got all this multiverse crap. Now you got She Hulk. You got Daredevil coming in. You
you
have
got
Valentina
Eternals.
doing her thing. You got a whole organization trying to take back the place of the blimp. You got a Celestial coming to Earth and taking people
Yeah,
away. Like you got a Celestial
you got
coming out.
a
Like you have
celestial. Yeah, you got a celestial sticking out of the earth.
like
But I
there's
will give this episode credit because they finally like focused on it. Like
yeah,
when she's on like her computer, there's like a website article that's like, why is there a giant dude sticking out of Earth? I'm like, finally someone addressed it. It's been like
right.
4 things of content.
That is true. It's just there's so many storylines right now in the MCU that we know nothing about. And we are years away from Secret Wars and uh was it Age of Kang or whatever it's called?
The Kang Dynasty.
The Kang Dynasty, sorry, yeah. We are still a few like 2 or 3 years away from that, or four maybe. I think it's 2026. So 4 years away. You have 4 years to connect all these storylines somehow.
Yep.
Do you really think, and you're adding more, like I'm
Yep.
sure there's some I haven't even mentioned yet that I've talked about in previous episodes. Do you really think that with losing a bunch of your employees because they can't keep up with the content you're putting out, with all these storylines that you've added, that you're going to keep adding, that you can bring this all together by 2026? And if you keep adding stuff, like, is Hulk going to be in outer space for Secret Wars?
Yeah.
Like, it's just too much, and I don't see the point in taking them back to outer space. So that was my
Yeah.
one of my problems with the episode. My other problem with the episode is everyone was just like, "Oh yeah, She-Hulk, yeah, She-Hulk,
Yeah.
She-Hulk's awesome," but like, where is this for every other superhero? They got a bunch of hate because they would
Yeah.
because places would get destroyed and they couldn't fix it. But even though they saved all their lives, they're always like those people who are like superheroes are bad, which is what brought
Yeah.
on the Sokovia Accords and saw this and that. And She Hulk has to face none of that, which is a big part of being a superhero. Like you have to
Yeah.
go through those trials and turmoil of the people not being on your side when you're just trying to help them. And she makes one punch, literally, and she's now
I
this
know
huge celebrity that everyone
she
loves.
saved like she saved 12 people. Which granted, I mean, I'd rather save 12 people than like no one at all, but like
Yeah,
just like, oh yeah, she saved a jury for a case. And then she won the case. Then I was like, oh, it's biased because she saved the jury. So
yeah. Um, those are just my two big problems with the episode. Everything else I like though. The story was better. The fourth wall breaks. I mean, they were just exactly the same. We got to see Abomination
yep.
again,
Or
and
not.
he was well, yeah,
Yeah. Emil Blonsky. Which
Blonsky,
I
yeah,
kinda like his like his take on like kind of like a Wanda point of view in
yeah.
multiverse. Like that's not fair because everybody regards you as a hero, and then I'm in trouble. It's like, yeah,
You know,
that's a fair point. And then at the end, it's like, oh yeah, he broke out.
It was like, your government's the government that told me to do this, and I was
Yeah.
wondering, like, if he's been in this super max prison, how the freak was he fighting Wong in Shang-Chi?
Well,
Like,
because
I was so
he
confused, but
uses the portal, remember?
yeah,
Because then he puts him back.
I remember. Yeah, that's true. I was so
And I
confused, and then
definitely think,
they showed it at the end of the episode when
yeah,
she looked at the news. But yeah, keep going.
I definitely think GLK and H is up to something. Like
For sure.
as soon as she took the case, he's like, "Oh yeah, turn on the news," and then he was like, "Oh
Yeah.
yeah, he broke out." I'm like, "Yeah, they're up to something."
And I think that's where Matt Murdock is going to come in and try to be like, "Hey, this is what
Yeah,
needs to happen," and all that. I'm excited for the lawyer stuff, dude. Honestly, like, I love
I'm
Law and
very
Order,
yeah.
and it's all cool to me. But I mean, I like the episode overall. It opens up some cool stuff. We get to see maybe Shang-Chi, something about Shang-Chi comes along. Um,
Yep.
I don't know. I'm excited for the rest of the show. Honestly, I think it's in a good place. After episode 2, we got 7 episodes left, and there was something else I had on my mind. If it comes back up, I'll just interrupt you. But um, you can go ahead with your consensus on episode 2.
I liked seeing Abomination.
That was fun. He was
And then, but at
hilarious,
the
by
same,
the way.
yeah, he was very hilarious, honestly. But it really reminds you that like his Abomination versus Smart Hulk is not going to be the same as like Edward Norton's Hulk versus Abomination.
It's not.
Which is a little disappointing. But I don't even know if we'll see those two face off again.
We
Like,
probably won't, if I had to guess, because
no, not if he's in space and he's on Earth. You know?
yeah, like, I'm sure She-Hulk will fight Abomination at some point,
Yeah.
but it was so funny to me. Like, he was talking about all these haikus he's written, and she's on the phone with Hulk, and he's like, "Yeah,
he
he sent
actually
me an
wrote me a
apology
haiku.
letter."
Yeah.
Yeah, that made me laugh so hard.
I know. I was like, and then I mean, yeah, I wasn't fond of like him just being in space and then being like, yeah, he's in space now again.
Yeah,
Uh, I mean, truthfully, when you look at Ragnarok, I don't even know how Quinjet made it to space, but it did. You know,
that far to space too.
yeah. Unless it didn't, and then some like space ravagers found it. I guess I never thought about it that way.
Well, didn't they fly the Quinjet back to
No,
Asgard or
because
something?
he destroyed it. They flew the Sicarian ship back to
Okay,
Asgard,
you're right.
or like bigger ship because it held all the Asgardian. Either way,
Yeah,
so yeah, I wasn't really crazy about him going back to space because it's kind of like she still needs a mentor, dude. Like she's
yeah.
still kind of new to this. The family dynamic, the family dinner was pretty funny. And just like it kind of showed like possibly what a real world family with a superhero in it would be like, same as Miss Marvel.
Yeah,
Depending on the family dynamic, they're just kind of like, yeah, you're not the first Hulk we've dealt with, so you know you gotta talk us through things.
yeah.
Like we're just glad you haven't destroyed like a whole city, and then it's kind of like, oh yeah, the Sokovia Accords. I mean, just the whole episode as a whole, I'd give it like a 7 out of 10.
Me too.
It was pretty good. I liked it. You know, nothing like they don't really focus on her being a superhero just yet. But I mean, like I hope they kind of do dive into that more since
It'll
she is
get
a
there.
superhero.
It'll get there
Yeah,
eventually for sure.
I think the next couple episodes when she actually, if she has to go like hunt down Abomination, I don't really know lawyers. I don't know if they have to go find the clients, but she is a superhero lawyer.
She
So
is a superhero lawyer. I think the show's gonna be very, very good by the end of
yeah,
it. If I combine my two scores, the show would be like a 5.7 or a 6 out
yeah,
of 10, something like that, which isn't awful. It's just mid.
yeah,
But I mean, it's been a very mid phase for Marvel, which compared to their other phases, and that makes it bad because their other phases have been incredible, and now you have a mid one. Um,
yeah,
but the show, like I said, it's not that bad. It's just there's a few things about it that don't make sense. The writing doesn't always make sense.
yeah,
The jokes fell flat in the first episode, but the second episode was good. Um,
yeah,
and I think the show's going to get a whole lot better. And I love the idea of having a superhero lawyer division, even if they are bad guys. I mean, that's still cool. So
Yeah.
all in all, She-Hulk is going to be okay. Is it going to be better than, let's say, Moon Knight, Hawkeye, Miss Marvel, Loki? Probably not.
Yeah.
But you know, you never know. Miss Marvel came out of nowhere and shocked me. Like, 'cause it was
Yep.
very, very good, and not
I
a lot
mean,
of
it
people
was
expected
better
it to be.
for me. It was just better than Obi-Wan, which I mean, like that
Way better
was
than Obi-Wan.
when I watched the trailer for the two of them. I was like,
Right.
I'll give Miss Marvel credit because I like The Weeknd. I don't really like the song, but I like the actual artist. And then I was like, and then I watched Obi-Wan trailer. I was like, this is gonna be so
It was
cool.
epic.
And then I end up watching the two of them. I'm like, huh. Never would I have thought that I'd like Miss Marvel more than Obi-Wan.
If you would
And
have
it's
told
just
me last year that Miss Marvel would have been better than Obi-Wan, I would have literally laughed in your face.
yep.
But look at where we are. I mean,
It's just like the writing and pacing of the two are completely different. Like Miss Marvel, I found the pacing to be really good and the writing really good. But like all Marvel shows, pretty much the first two episodes kind of fall flat.
yeah.
And then like the first episode of Obi-Wan I found like pretty good. And then anything after I was like, huh, this is not what I thought it'd be.
Obi-Wan was such a big disappointment. But speaking of Obi-Wan, Andor comes out very,
I
very
know.
soon. The trailer looks incredible. The fact that it's going to be not fan service, but like real people
Uh-huh.
in the galaxy, it makes me happy because I think we can get a very good show off of this because we see what happens when you get the
Yep.
two biggest names in Star Wars, Darth Vader and Obi-Wan together. It's supposed to be this huge, awesome show, and it just wasn't. It was bad. And Boba Fett, another huge name in Star Wars, was bad. But the
Yep.
best Star Wars content that's come out probably in years, or the two best Star Wars content other than the Clone Wars, season 7, which I guess just the final 4 episodes. Anyways, two
Yeah.
of the best pieces of content that have come out for Star Wars in years have been Rogue One and The Mandalorian, both of which
Yep.
introduce new characters and new stories. And then you get Obi-Wan, which continues his story, and Boba Fett, which continues his story, and they were both bad.
Yep.
Now we get Andor, who is a newer character who we don't know a whole lot about, and get his
You know
story. And I
he's a
think it's going to be
pilot.
very good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a great show. And we all know how his story ends. He dies
Yep.
trying to save the galaxy, just like a bunch of people in the rebellion that we don't get to see their stories. We don't get to see how they
Yep.
got to the rebellion. And this is something I'm very excited to see happen. And it's a route Star Wars needs to take.
Yeah, I'm very fond of them not going the fan service route because like I've said it before, like being brutally honest, Obi-Wan's not a show that like had to happen.
Yeah.
You know, like there's no like real reason to give fans like the in between, but they did, and it kind of like it didn't go as well as they thought. Some people love it, and I feel like they're just kind of like a bias with the characters of Obi-Wan and Darth Vader. Like, oh, it's great because it has the two of them. It's like, nah, you could put like Daredevil and Spider-Man in the same movie, and it's not guaranteed to succeed unless it's
Yeah,
written
exactly.
well. Like,
Right.
but I think Andor is going to be really good, and I like you. I really like the concept of just like exploring these other characters.
Yeah.
Like I like Fallen Order because it was like, here's this Padawan, that survived Order 66. What's life like for him? So it's kind of like here's these people that are like going through the rise of the Empire. So like, what's it going to be like for them?
Right. And I think like being a diehard Star Wars fan, we want to see stories from the past. We want to see,
Yeah,
stuff that happens with Darth Vader. We want to see Obi-Wan, but we don't want to see things that ruin other things. Like
yeah,
the fact that people were thinking Luke Skywalker was going to actually die. No, he wasn't going to die.
yeah,
Like, are y'all stupid? No, he doesn't die. But, that didn't have to happen. Luke's life
yeah,
didn't have to be put in danger at that point. But at the same time, I'm very excited for the future of Star Wars because we're going to get more Mandalorian. We're going to get
yeah,
more Andor now. I like new characters coming in.
yeah,
And as much as I want to see, stories from like the big Skywalker saga characters, they just haven't been good. And I'd rather
yeah,
see new stories because there's no stories to ruin, you know? with Obi-Wan, there
Yep.
was a lot at stake because you could ruin all this stuff that happened. With Andor, there's not. And the only way you could
Yeah.
ruin it is if you say Andor somehow survived the Death
Yeah.
Star, which he didn't.
Which
They-
no, and I feel like
Yeah.
that's the whole concept. The one thing that like with Rogue One that I wasn't really crazy about was like at the end when they tried to do kind of like a love story between Jin and Andor, and then they like died. So it's kind of like, and maybe I read like too much like romantic into it. Maybe they're just kind of like friends, like, well, you know what, we're gonna die here anyway. So,
Right.
but I mean, just Star Wars as a whole, it's like both a risk and both not a risk because like it's such a big universe that you can go out there and explore, or you can stick to all the localized stuff that everybody's familiar with and try to like play it safe. But if you like do it wrong, then it's not really a safe play.
Yeah.
And so like Andor is just like Andor's fresh content with like a character that's like not really known, and you get to explore that universe, which
You
is
have
fun.
a lot more room to be creative with your
Yeah.
stories and to actually explore things. With a character like Obi-Wan,
Yeah,
you're
they
very
like tried to
limited to
get
what
too
you can
creative.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah. But I'm very excited for Andor. Star Wars needs a win very badly
Yeah.
right now. So I'm really hoping that this is that for them because I don't want to have to wait till Mando season 3 to enjoy Star Wars content.
Oh, they released that a Dune game is coming out. I'm not really crazy about it because it's gonna
I'm
be
not
an
either.
MMO,
Oof.
and like it's just like it's capitalizing off the new audience that was introduced to the Dune universe with the recent movie, and it's like you don't have to make every single thing just because the movie made money. Like, take your time with something.
I didn't even like the new Dune movie,
Yeah.
honestly. Like,
I mean, it's very similar to the book, and it was
Yeah.
done really well. If you've read the book, there are some few misses, but yeah, I mean, it's like 2.5 hours, and it like at parts it feels long because it's just like political stuff, and it's like we just show the fighting, and then you get to see the fight. It's like, oh, that's cool, and then it goes to like them traveling through the desert. I'm like, man, okay,
yeah,
and like just MMOs in general usually experience like a high point for like 2 weeks, and then it's a burnout.
probably. It probably
Like
was
me
going to
personally,
happen.
yeah. Like me personally, I still am, but like I grinded multiverses like
Oh,
the
I
first
know.
2 weeks when it came out, and now they finally put Spike from Gremlins and Black Adam in there, and I haven't even touched it. And I'm like, if I get on, I'm just gonna get wrecked because there are still people out there who play it. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, do I need to do this or not? But I
Right.
think I'll probably hop on just to try them out. Probably Black Adam. I don't know about Spike, but that's also news.
There was news that Ubisoft was making a Blade game, and then Ubisoft
Yeah.
shut down those rumors and said, we're not making a Blade game.
Yeah, I know.
So
I
that
was
kinda
right.
died
I sent,
fast.
yeah, I sent it to you. I was like, dude, we can get a Blade game. They're like, we're not making a Blade game.
Yeah.
Uh,
I wonder who took the time to say, yeah, Blade game, and how
yeah,
people actually believed it. But I don't know
Yeah.
how Blade would even work as a video game, honestly.
no. I mean,
But-
honestly, I don't know how Wolverine's going to work as a video game, but it's by Activision, and they like. For me, I feel like Batman the Animated Series is like the Batman story, and I feel like the Spider-Man video game is like the Spider-Man
The Spider-Man
Like,
story. Mhm.
yeah, like yeah, there's like the movies are really well done. Like, not all
Sure.
of them, but you know, and like same with Batman, but like the animated series and Spider-Man the game were like so well done with like
Very well
everything that
done.
they provided. And so Spider-Man, like September 9th, that's Disney's big like game day right after Disney Plus Day. So I'm
Yep.
hoping for news on. I got to even think about it till today. I'm hoping for news on Spider-Man 2, of course, Wolverine, of course, and then I was like, oh yeah, Fallen Order is getting its sequel.
Yeah.
Disney owns Star Wars. Maybe we'll get
There's a
news
bunch
on
of
all
stuff
three
that
of
might,
those.
yeah,
Yeah,
very exciting.
I'll be
Yeah.
most disappointed if like the only video game to like show something for is like Midnight Suns because I'm like, I'm not paying $70 for a virtual card game.
I don't know who would,
Uh,
but
Someone would just for the characters,
sure.
but
All right,
not
man.
I.
Well,
All
I think
right,
that's about all the news we got.
that's all I can think of.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe to Next Topic Media. Our socials will be in the description below. Check out all the stuff on our channel. Signing off, I'm Caleb Griffin,
I'm Evan Waddle.
and we'll see you guys on the next one.